Alrighty, hello and welcome. This is BP Productions Podcast, where we share life, share stories, and encourage others. I am your host, Bruce Pineda, and I thank you for tuning in to this episode number 2 of 7 podcast. I am currently solo today. We had a few hiccups in getting people on here, but that is okay because we are going to learn a few things and we're going to walk with each other and it'll be good. Promise. A few announcements. Again, this will be found only on youtube.com under BP Productions. And I am currently looking into other podcast platforms, but right now I just want it on YouTube for specific reasons. And I just want to say thank you, first of all, guys, because that channel has really grown just with that one video. And I know you guys met Angel, and he's a really great guy. And a lot of you had comments about that, and so Angel, thank you for being on. I really appreciated you, and I know we learned a lot from you, and we were able to talk and discuss certain topics that resonated with a lot of people, and so I really appreciate that, and I appreciate you, the audience, for watching, because this helps tremendously. It helps start conversations, it helps get input from different areas, different places, different people, and that's what I'm most excited about. Okay. So today's podcast, episode number 2, that is titled "Life Happens." Now, what do I mean by life happens? I mean that every day in life there is going to be trials, there is going to be hiccups, there is going to be good, there's going to be evil, there's going to be bad, there's going to be maybes, I don't knows. There's going to be a lot of things, right? And so for the longest time, I've struggled with these things, especially with, from teenage onward, going through teenage hormones, everything, whatever it was, it's hard to deal with emotions. It's hard to deal and figure out life. Right now, I'm at 23 years of age, right? And so I've, been on this earth for 23 years, and I've learned a few things that I'd like to share with you today. But there's also some things that I don't know and that I'm still learning. And those are some of these things here because I have learned them, but obviously life is an ongoing thing. One of the things I always ask people too is that, older folks, is I ask them, does adulting get easier? Does adulting get easier? And the feedback I get from that is no, it really doesn't get easier, but it does get more manageable, right? Because going into adulthood, I feel like, at least for me, when I was younger, when I was 15, 16, 17, I kind of wanted to be like 25. I wanted to jump to my 20s. I wanted to pursue that. I don't know why. I think I just felt like I would have more freedom to do certain things that I wanted to do, or somehow, some way, it would make me to be something magnificent. I don't know. But now that I'm in my adulthood, I find myself looking back and feeling like, wow, where did my childhood go? And now I have bills. Now I have work. Now I have tiredness. And I feel like I don't have that freedom as much, right? But again, I've learned a few things. So I wanted to share those things. Okay, so walk with me here and it'll be good. All right, so one of the things that I wrote 4 things down, okay? And one of the things that I learned in 23 years of age is that there is good people. There is good people on this earth. I believe that 100%. Not everybody is bad in the sense of you can't trust anybody, because you can. I've met some really good people in my life, and a lot of you that are watching this are those people. And so first off, I just want to say thank you to that too. But somebody in your life, right? Just think about somebody in your life right now that you can go to, that you can be honest with, and they're your anchor, right? There's somebody that's going to tell you when you're right and when you're wrong. There's someone who's going to support you in the ups and the downs. And those people are really good people, and those people are the ones that you should keep in your life, that you should go to for guidance, and that are always going to be there for you, right? So I want to tell a story about that. One of those great people that I had in my life is a man by the name of Brent Murphy. He was my old boss at Interstate Batteries, where I previously worked a couple years ago. And why I bring him up is because when I was maybe 16, 17, no, probably like 17, 18, I was going through emotions like no other. I was head over heels about this girl, and I really wanted to date her. I really wanted to be with her, and everything I did just wasn't working out. And, at that age, how you're full of emotions, you're full of trying to manage your life, right? And I finally got the courage one day to tell this girl how I felt, tell her that I loved her, tell her that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her, and the whole shebang. And it didn't pan out. She didn't reciprocate the feelings. And that left me in shambles. That left me broken. That left me confused. That left me worried. That left me I don't have the words for it, right? I don't have the words for it. And beta. I've been using that word a lot. That's called a beta male because I wasn't that alpha male to just say okay and move on, move forward. I was that beta male, and I was stuck in the emotions of it. So, anyways, I went into work that next day, and I remember just not focusing on my work, not focusing on my job. It was just all through my mind throughout the day, and I would say little prayers in my head here and there. And I would even go as far as like kind of go to the corner and just kind of hide myself because I needed a little mental break. And there I would, pray. I would just try to get my mind straight, get my mind right. And I just couldn't handle it no more, guys. I couldn't handle it. So I thought to myself, where do I go? What do I do? What do I do in this situation? Who's the closest person right now that I can go and talk to? And I knew my boss before I started working there. No. I didn't know. I knew him that he went to church. He was a Christian man. I knew he was trustworthy. And I went up there to his office and knocked on his door. I said, Brent, can we talk? And he's like, yeah, for sure. And I was like, but it's not about work stuff. And he goes, yeah. He's like, yeah, that we could talk. We don't always have to talk about work stuff. And I was like, yeah. I was like, for sure. So I explained to him. I said, I love this girl, and I confessed my feelings to her, and my heart is now broken because she didn't, reciprocate the feelings. And I just don't know what to do. I don't know where to go from here. And I don't know. I feel lost because I thought things were going to go a different way. And now I'm in this moment feeling down. And he listened to me. He was very genuine when he listened. I knew he was understanding, and he shared with me his story about how he met his wife and how in his past relationships that he's been rejected before, and it resonated with me a lot. And he shared that even though things not may work out the way you thought they were going to work out, that God always has a plan, and that God will always be there with you when you follow him, right? When you're walking in his ways, that those doors will open up for you, right? Because if you decide to go the other way and don't follow God, those doors might never open up, right? And at the time when we were talking and I was thinking about that relationship, I wasn't walking with the Lord in that decision to pursue that girl, because it wasn't something, it was just more of emotion, but it wasn't spiritual to where I knew that God was leading me towards this. It's something that I wanted, and I was just trying to force it, right? And he helped me to understand that. And after all that, after we talked, after he settled me down, I asked him, I said, Brent, I said, could you just pray with me? And him being the boss, him being that franchise owner, him being that ear to listen, not only to an employee, but a friend, he prayed for me and he helped me to see the light again. And I was very thankful for that. Again, give me a little bit of a break. I was a young kid in love, and I got my heart broken. And that's what it was there. So life happens. but there is good people. There is good people. Our second thing right here, it says your actions are your responsibility. My actions are my responsibility. Whatever I do, whatever I say, it's on me, correct? I feel like today's society, we tend to blame a lot of our problems on different people: the government, our family, our friends, our bullies, our school, our city. Sometimes it's not even that, guys. Sometimes it's just us. It's our decision making. It's our goings. It's our doings. I think about the time where I moved right to Washington, or I moved back from Washington to Texas, and maybe when I got to those places, things didn't work out the way I thought they were. Well, I could go easily and blame this, that person, but I look at myself and I say, those are my decisions. I made those decisions, and now I'm living, with the consequences of those decisions, either good or bad, right? One of the things that I think about, and a story I wanted to share, is that I work in a hotel, right? And one of the things that I get to deal with is guests, good guest and bad guest. But there was this one time where it was evening. I was checking a lot of people in, right? And I hear this screaming, this yelling upstairs. And I'm like, well, that's a little weird. What's going on there? And then I got a phone call from other guests around the area saying that so-and-so's room is being super loud. I don't know what's going on. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll go check that out, right? Once I was finished checking in the guest. And all of a sudden, I see this mad lady coming out of the elevator, mad, and looked like, basically a bull just coming right at me. And she was like, sorry, before that happened, I got a call from that specific room saying, hey, I need you to get this man out of here. And I'm like, well, what's happening? Well, let me look up your room. I looked up her room real quick, and it turns out the man's name was on the reservation, right? So I was like, okay, well, I can't necessarily kick him out because the name of the room is under him. And so after that, she hung up. She's like, what do you mean? She hung up the phone, and that's like, now the bull's coming. She came and out of the elevator, and when I saw her come down the elevator, I was like, oh my goodness, I kind of got scared. So I went to the back, and she basically followed me all the way to the back, and I felt like I was being chased. And I ended up calling PD and all that, and they ended up actually kicking her out. We ended up actually kicking her out just because she was very, very upset and was causing a whole bunch of trouble amongst other guests. And it was just a big fiasco in that moment. But that brings us back to our actions are our responsibility, right? First off, that lady chose to act out that way. Although I understand she was upset at that man for some other reason. I don't know why. Her actions are her responsibility. Those actions that she did got her kicked out of the hotel. Now, for me, I could have reacted a totally different way. I could have yelled back at her. I could have defended myself, in any way. But I chose a different route. And that's what I mean when I say your actions are your responsibility, right? Because every action has a consequence. And that's the way life is. Every action has a consequence, good or bad. Good or bad. So life happens. Life happens. Your actions are your responsibility. Okay. And number 3, that brings us to number 3. Number 3 point is that worrying doesn't change a thing. Life happens. Worrying doesn't change a thing. I myself have been known to be a worrier. Not a warrior, a worrier. Because when I was younger, maybe again teenage years, I would worry about a lot of things. Whether it's little, whether it's big, I would worry, right? When my mom would leave his kids at the house to maybe go run an errand or whatever, I would worry about when's my mom coming back? Is she okay? What happened? I kind of freak out, but she's been gone for 10 minutes. And another, instance when I was worrying, again, when I was moving back home, when I was moving back from Washington State, I was like, wow, well, where do I start? What do I do? Why am I worrying so much? Why am I worrying about the future? These things haven't even happened yet. When I was, again, pursuing that girl, and I was worried because I didn't know how things were going to turn out, right? I didn't know that. And I just had a whole bunch of worry. But that never added up to anything. I feel like worry isn't something that's ever, ever, ever going to make your life better. And those are the words, right? Jesus, do not fret. Worrying doesn't add a second to your life. It doesn't. Unless you put that knowledge to action, it's not going to do anything. After an interview, after, whatever you're doing at work, whatever you're doing at school, when you turn that test in, when you finish that interview, what's left? You're going to sit down and worry. You're going to be there, adding worry to your heart, to your life. It's not going to add any more life to you. So I feel like you can't dwell in that. And that's something that I've learned, is that I can't sit back and worry about things that haven't even happened yet. When I was pursuing that girl, things hadn't even happened yet I was worrying. And I've learned that I just can't do that no more. That's not fair to me. That's not fair to the plan that I'm trusting God in. So that's one of the things I learned, is not to worry. Not to worry. Life happens. Worrying doesn't change a thing. Our next one, number 4, is that life trials come to pass. It's true. We all have trials. We all have overcome trials. And these are unavoidable, but they help us grow. They help us grow. Trials do help us grow. I've been in an accident, and I've learned from that. I've been through heartbreak, and I've learned from that. I've dealt with people at work in a certain way, guests, and my other work with kids, and I've learned from that. Right? Whatever trial it is, big or small, sickness, it's something that can be overcome. Heartbreak, it's something that can be overcome. When you see a family member sick, I think about my grandma. Seeing my grandma, how she recently passed away. December, I think 13th, she passed away. But this is about, I think, a year and a half ago or so. Anyways, beside the point, is that when she was going through that sickness, yes, we were worried. Yes, we were heartbroken. Yes, we were afraid. But at the end of it, after everything got resolved, we were able to come together as a family. We were able to find our anchor, and we were able to overcome that. We were able to know that this trial has finished. We've come out stronger. We believed God, and we are okay. And that, I feel like, goes with any trial that you have. Friendships, relationships. I was pursuing this. Here's another story. I was pursuing this other girl here in San Antonio, and unfortunately, her life got caught up into drugs. And at the time, I did not know this about her. I knew she had passed with it, but I didn't know that she had gone back into it, and she had confessed that stuff to me. And obviously, it broke my heart. But she ended up cutting ways between us because she didn't want to bring me into that life. And I was heartbroken. I was mad. I was upset because after we cut off and she was pursuing that life, I didn't know what was going to happen. Not just with my thoughts about, what's going to happen to me, but her. I was worried about her. I was worried, where is she at? Is she okay? Is she even alive? And I had these horrible thoughts run through my head. And it was just a trial. It was a trial, long trial, long trial, until actually recently I ended up seeing a picture of her and her family. And I saw that she was okay. I saw that she was with her family. And that gave me hope. That gave me hope that anything I go through, I'm going to get through it. God's going to get me through it. That gave me that hope that life trials come to pass. When I got in the accident at my work, at the time, I was frustrated. I remember calling my mom that night and just crying, saying that, man, mom, like, 'cause I had rear-ended somebody, right? And I was just crying because, thankfully no one got hurt, but I couldn't believe that. What if children were in that car? What if something would have been worse? What if someone died in that car? I couldn't deal with the fact that could have happened, right? But I found an anchor. My mom comforted me, and I was able to overcome that, and that trial came to pass. So I guess my take in that is that whatever you're going through right now, whatever it may feel like, whatever it may be like, it's going to come to pass. I promise you, it will. At these 23 years of age, it has. And I haven't faced anything quite yet that I can say I'm not going to get through this, because I have people in my life that have gone through much more and have overcome those things. And that has been a learning tool for me to know that, all right, I'm going to be good, right? So, yeah, obviously there's going to be lots of things, and I guess we can just recap from here, right? So we got life happens, that there is good people. Life happens, that your actions are your responsibility. Number 3, that worrying doesn't change a thing. And number 4, life trials come to pass. Life trials come to pass. Definitely. Yeah, that's it. And again, whatever it may be, God is good. God is with you. And I believe that we can get through anything. And at 23 years of age, obviously I still have a lot to learn. Obviously, I still have a lot to grow. And I feel like I am doing that every day. And sometimes I can't see the future. Sometimes I can't see where I'm going to end up at. But I can see God's light, and I can see that my past has shown that we can overcome those things, and we can be mature. We can be knowing that we're good. We are good, and we're going to get through this. Yeah. And so those are the things I just wanted to share. And I thank you for listening again. I am very much appreciated with all your support. This is BP Productions podcast, and something that I started because I wanted to give people a platform to speak their opinions, speak their minds. And I feel like I have done that, not only for myself, but for Angel, the previous guest that we just had, and some more guests that are going to be here later on. That's my goal for this. We have we have opportunity to grow. We have opportunity to show. And I wanted to tell you too, whether you know me in person or know me from Instagram, whatever it may be, that I want to give you the opportunity to reach out to me. If you want to come on here, if you want to talk about topics, any topics we can talk about, share your life, share your story, encourage others, whatever it may be, I want to give you that platform to do this. And I can pick your brain. You saw how I picked Angel's brain, and we got real personal. And we don't have to get super personal, but I don't know. I like to ask those personal questions because I like to know the heart. So that's super important to me. But yeah. Anyways, guys. So this has been episode 2 of 7 of BP Productions podcast. I thank you all for listening, and I will see you again on the next one. Hopefully we'll have a person on here. But again, very thankful. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and make sure you share this. Hopefully you got encouraged. I thank you for letting me share my life and share my story. And hopefully, again, I can encourage someone here. I love you guys. Again, thank you.